Bim! Guess what? It's Sunday. It's gone 10 o'clock and a quarter. But don't worry about that. And it's time for a weekly news review and opinion roundup of the week, which is basically where I look at the news of the week and then give my opinion on it. You can either agree, disagree. If you're watching this live, feel free to join in the chat. You will get a mensch at the end of the programme, as and when that is. As I've said before, I no longer cover American news because all the news channels there just seem to be completely biased either one way or t'other. And I try and be neutral, and to be fair, it's a bit difficult at the minute because I've recently realised just how biased the BBC are in the UK. So are we being misled all the way about everything, or are we being given snippets and we have to decide ourselves which is the truth and which is fake news? Well, this show, this programme, this podcast is one that just discusses things. We'll have a chat with our regulars and our new people who join in every now and then, and we will put the world to rights. Whether or not we actually get anywhere with it is probably unlikely, but hell, they ain't got to stop us, is it? First one in the chat room is Dream Frequency. Hello, Dream Frequency, hope you are well. I to T as well, hope you're good. Yeah, there's a lot of news that's been going on this week, but it's kind of been like about one or two things, which is a bit depressing because none of them are good. So we've got more fun stuff at the end, including a little clip from my weekly vlog that I've done that I will show you in a bit. I've not done the weekly vlog yet, I didn't even do one last week. I know I'm getting lazy, but you know, things, life, stuff. It kind of gets in the way. I've just realised I've not changed that either because that says A4 and what it should say is 11. So yeah, it's the 11th of October 2024. Hi Alan, hope you're good as well. And it is time to look at news and see what is going on around the world according to the British news channels. We will look at Australia and the light side of the news in a bit, plus a lot of Banksy stuff this week. Banksy has been on a roll. He's been churning out, well, so far, one art installation a day to try and cheer people up. 11th of October? It's not 11th of October. What are you on about, 11th of October? 11th of August. Did I say October? I meant August. I don't know anymore. It's fake news. Ignore it. Let's move on. Anyway, so the main news of the week, i.e. the biggest stories of the week, or put it another way, the week's news from around the world. Oh, stop splitting hairs, you'll be telling me electric cars are the future in a minute. They're not. Anyway, it doesn't even own one. So I don't know why to keep spouting this nonsense. Last week we had a record audience. Hundreds actually came in whilst I was live. Okay, most people didn't stay for long, but no, it was a good, interesting thing. So if you're one of the newbies, welcome. We do this every week. I did think about stopping doing it, to be fair, because it's a lot of hassle for not a lot of reward. But yeah, I'll keep going at least till end of year and see where we're at. See how many prime ministers we've got through before the end of the year. Anyway, the 5th of August, it was a Monday. Fresh unrest in Plymouth and in Birmingham. Writing, worst a police officer seen in a decade. The PM says more police will be available, i.e. 6,000. Call it a standing army. Dictatorship, anyone? It's going to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, one thing I will say about Kier Starmer is fair play to him. We've got more police on the streets now than we've had for a long while. So, I mean, that's a plus, I suppose. Mark Rowley pulls a microphone off a reporter and throws it to the ground. He's the, I think, chief police officer in the Met. He apologises later, but yeah, everyone's a little bit stressed. Annie, hello, welcome. Just let you know we're talking about the police, don't panic. A group of Muslims in Birmingham, which appeared on Sky News live broadcast, they were driving dangerously around a roundabout, and then some basically came up to the camera where the young lady was doing her report and started doing gun things and various other unnecessary statements and whatnot, and well, nothing happened. Make your own mind up. 2T Kier, where are you? Some people even had weapons. Nothing happened. There's been a vigil for the murdered girls, which was exactly a week after the horrendous crime that occurred. And the Bangladeshi Prime Minister quit after riots from students, and many people are dead. That's all per Keir Starmer gets the hint. Tuesday, the 6th of August, was a Tuesday, and also the 6th of August. The police state continues, and people will feel the full force of the law. Over and over again, he kept saying, Keir Starmer, in his little speech, over what? Elon Musk. Only Swift 1 too late on Sundays nowadays. Don't worry, any. Musk fights back over 2T Kier, who dissed him over comments of unrest and saying Elon Musk said that the civil war in the UK is inevitable. And he asks if rioters are now terrorists. Wes Streeting, I used to think he was alright, says people who racially abuse staff in NHS could and should not be treated. More police state. Anyone? Remember, if you voted Labour, you voted for this shite. Wednesday, the 7th of August. Authorities claim success as tens of thousands anti-far right protests, i.e. supporting the immigrants, took place. Tens of thousands attended, but none or few of the 100 heavily publicised. Now this is where I start thinking, what is going on? Now, if something that is claimed to be a terrorist activity, i.e. rioting, far right and all that nonsense, has been, tipped to go off in a town, city, suburb, whatever, wouldn't it be in the authorities, governments, police's interest not to publicise this? Unless, of course, and I've got no proof of this whatsoever, that it's the police and government who were saying that these 100 protests were going to take place on Tuesday, knowing damn well that they weren't, and therefore loads of people who don't support the protests will come out, and then all of a sudden Britain looks like it supports all the immigrants and therefore supports Labour and everything else, bearing in mind Labour in a majority government with 1 million less votes than they got at the last general election, where they were, quote, wiped out and would never recover. So, yeah, are we being misled? Now, I've said before, basically over the Ukraine war, if you hear something by the British government or the United States government or anyone in the West about what's going on in Ukraine, you take it with a pinch of salt. If Zelensky or anyone else in Ukraine says something, you take it with a truckload of salt. If Russia say anything about it, you take it with a salt mine. And if China say anything, then you just ignore them because they're lies anyway. But are we now heading to the truckload since Labour took over? Are we no longer having a look at things and being told things and it's all a pinch of salt? Or are Labour now basically giving us misinformation in order to prove that their policies are working, i.e. this 100 protests around the country, which I personally, if I was Prime Minister and I knew about these, I'd have the police know that these were going on, but I wouldn't let them go on Sky News and BBC News and other newspapers and all that listing where these 100 things are going to be. That just seems insane, unless it's all a ruse. And I don't trust anything that's coming out of the government. I trust very little that's coming out of the BBC at the minute as well. They've got this Verify thing, BBC Verify bullshit that's going on. But no, I don't agree with any of that. Absolutely not. Keeps crashing. Dream Frequencies says Labour are finished. A long 5 years going to be painful. NGOs fed the government lies saying there was going to be 100 protests. Mr Bean would do better than Starmer. Funnily enough, one of the last images I saw today was Mr Bean actually on a... Oh, I'm online. Who knew? Mr Bean, the actor, Rowan Atkinson, as he was Mr Bean on a bicycle, I think it was, or a scooter, and as he is now, which is greyer because he's older. Duh, aren't we all? But anyway, we digress. Now, the one thing that really pisses me off, and I mean monumentally pisses me off, and I noticed this when the barge that they had, and still have, because Labour said they're going to get rid of it, but not until the contract runs out, so it can't be that bad then, can it? And they might change their mind and keep it anyway. But if they say something like, oh, we're going to get rid of it, oh, no, it's not, oh, yeah, we can't have that, oh, yeah, we can't have people on barges, Christ, let's put them in 4-star hotels. Shit, how much are 4-star hotels? Bloody hell, keep them on a barge. Anyway, if you remember, there were cardigan wearing middle-aged women. That's all I'm going to say. They probably had, loafers on as well. But anyway, I'm not judging them. And they're holding up placards saying migrants welcome. All migrants welcome. Well, hang on a minute. Let's have a look at the countries migrants are coming from. Let's look at the women's rights from the countries that the migrants are coming from. And you're supporting these people? You're supporting these people who live in a society where assault, rape, murder of women, persecution of women, women not being allowed to do anything is perfectly okay, and you, as a middle-aged cardigan-wearing woman, think that these people are worthy of being in our country without us even identifying who they are, whether or not they've got a criminal record or anything else like that. I tell you what, I hope you're around when the shit hits the fan, because it is going to hit the fan very soon indeed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely deplore the riots that are going on, but more of that later on. I say going on, went on. Even this weekend's been pretty quiet for the riots, or have they just not told us about it? Are we being censored? I don't know, because we only seem to get mainstream media these days. 3 men are sentenced after the Southport riots, which was a day or so after the heinous murders, slaughter of the poor children, and the attempted murders of 9 people, and the severe injuries of many other people as well. They call it speedy justice, which is great. Yet, hang on a minute, the criminal justice system is in disarray. We've got paedophiles, we've got rapists, we've got drug dealers, we've got terrorists, we've got loads of really horrible, nasty people who are awaiting trial. Yet someone who throws a brick at a police car gets instantly trialled, instantly found guilty, and instantly prisoned. Now, don't get me wrong, again, I am not supporting these people in any way, shape or whatever, but if we can put someone in prison for doing a tweet about something, or put someone in prison for getting a bit upset with the police, or put someone in prison for throwing a brick, then surely to God it's more important we put people in prison who are paedophiles, murderers, rapists, sex traffickers, drug dealers. Or am I missing something here? Are they okay to just keep in the society until their trial comes up next year, the year after? Why were we not able to try these people straight away? Why are these people not already been either found guilty or not guilty? If guilty, why are these people not in prison? Why are we instantly going for the quote right-wing rioters? I mean, the whole thing just smells of corruption. Kier Starmer has not been Prime Minister for, well, I think 6 weeks yet. And already everything is up. Some migrants were to tell her got off because they didn't know it was illegal. I mean, to be fair, one thing I do say is that a lot of these migrants, young men, have been brought up in a society where women are treated as a sex toy, or something to be abused, or something just to have children, or something for pleasure, or something to be beaten. And I don't necessarily blame them directly if they've come over here and are acting the way they're doing. I blame the government and all these people who are welcoming them for this. These people should be immediately sent back to the last safe country, aka, not aka, e.g. no, France. I mean, 2 more people have died today trying to cross the channel. You know, the whole thing is abhorrent, and it's absolute nonsense that is going on at the moment. As far as I'm concerned, if you commit a crime, it doesn't matter whether you're anti-immigrant or pro-immigrant or whatever, you should be treated the same. If you smash a window, if you do whatever. But my main thing is, if you are if you are suspected of child pornography, look at the Hugh Edwards, say paedophilia, rape, murder, all that kind of stuff, controlling behaviour on a partner, you should be imprisoned quicker, and you should be trialled quicker than someone who's just upset Kier Starmer. Like I say, I'm not actually, agreeing with the riots, but it does feel. I mean, it feels like they are either deliberately or accidentally trying to split the country into 2. And we all know that Labour will support the Muslims and the minorities over the rest of the population. And that, to me, is what the people have voted for. And if you're suddenly thinking, oh, what have I done? You had warnings. They've done it before, not necessarily to this degree. Kier Starmer, and I've said this before the election, is the most dangerous man in the United Kingdom with the power he's got. Of course, if he's replaced by Sadiq Khan, because he's going to get replaced sooner rather than later, I'll be amazed if he makes it into next year, then we are really in the shit. Sharia law scares me to death. Yeah, but apparently if you wear a cardigan and you're a middle-aged woman, you don't care about that. You just think human rights and all that. Whereas, if Sharia law comes in, well, women's rights in particular are out the window. I mean, we'll be alright. As long as we, Anyway, meanwhile, on a lighter note, Taylor Swift cancels 3 gigs in Vienna. Oh, Vienna. Due to a terrorist threat, arrests have been made. Also, the child killer, the slaughterer, the coward who murdered those 3 poor children in Southport, his trial isn't until next year, it was announced on Wednesday. So he's the murdering scumbag who's either caused or inadvertently caused or whatever, all the shit that's going on. And the people who were protesting about what he did, rightly or wrongly, misinformation etc., doesn't really matter, are sent to trial and put in prison straight away, whereas he's held in remand, to be fair, he's not loose, but he's held in remand and his trial won't be till next year. Where's the justice? Come on, Kier. I mean, don't forget, Kier Starmer was in charge of the, was it CCPP? CPP, Crown Prosecution Service, when all the stuff about Jimmy Savile came to light, and he just brushed it under the carpet. So I mean, Kier Starmer, the most dangerous person on the planet, well, in the UK anyway. Russia declares a state of emergency in Kursk region of Russia. And you're like, what? More of that later. Thursday, the 8th of August. 2-tier Kier says police should stay on alert, and he's taking credit for last night's lack of trouble. But was the 100 planned protests fake news? Well, from the government. I mean, I'm really questioning everything. I've never been like this before. I've never felt like this before. But Kier Starmer, within 6 weeks, has pushed me down this rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. I mean, he basically called me far right, so I might as well act far right then, shall I? Well, maybe not. We could have 4 wives, says Dream Frequency of Sharia Wall. Yeah. Again, total disrespect of women's rights. Meanwhile, in America, Donald Trump agrees on a debate with Kamala Harris in September. That could be interesting. Second officer is under criminal intervention after the airport stamping. You remember the week previous to this week, there was a video of the guy being stamped on, his head being stamped on and kicked by a police officer at a disturbance in Manchester Airport. We saw early footage where the guy in question, this was later on, was punching and actually broke the nose of a lady police officer and floored a couple of other police officers as well. And as far as I'm aware, no charges have been brought against either of the brothers who were being violent towards the police. But we've now got 2 police officers who are facing criminal investigation over the incident. Of course, they are white, hashtag just saying. Teenager says he was going to suicide bomb the Taylor Swift when he was caught in Australia, and 2 other people have been arrested. This was the Taylor Swift concerts that were cancelled in Austria. I mean, say what you want about Taylor Swift, but you've got to give her credit. It's got to be absolute genius to do what she's done. I mean, literally, she's made billions and billions and billions. You've got to say she's done it pretty much on her own, or certainly it appears that way, so fair play to her. 9th of August, which was a Friday, incursion by Ukraine into Russia in the Kursk region. Kiev is hit by missiles, a supermarket is hit directly whilst it was open, killing many. So Russia now are feeling the full brunt of an actual invasion from Ukraine. Okay, it's only minor compared to what Russia did to Ukraine, but I tell you what, top marks. I mean, you know, Zelensky must have, you know, balls the size of a moon bouncer thing, whatever they were. Them orange things that used to bounce on in the 70s, as she grounded. Meanwhile, now 740 people have been arrested and 300 charged after the UK riots. And I pretty much guarantee that out of the 300 charged, at least 380 of them were far right, shall we say. Meanwhile, tragedy in Brazil, a plane crash kills at least 61 people. And it was really weird. I've never seen, there was a video of the plane and it literally, it's just kind of slowly spinning like a helicopter out of the sky and then crashes to the ground. Horrific scenes there in Brazil. Thankfully, as far as we're aware, even though it landed in a residential area, not many people were actually killed on the ground, if anyone, which is a miracle in its own way, but sadly at least 61 dead on board the plane. Hugh Edwards, the disgraced newsreader, is asked to repay £200,000 after his arrest in November. So basically, Hugh Edwards was arrested in November for having images of children on his mobile phone, which had been sent to him by a convicted paedophile, which he had looked at and not deleted. Now he's arrested in November. Apparently the BBC were told that he'd been arrested and it was over serious pornography, child pornography charges. But the BBC continued to pay him, including giving him a £40,000 a year pay rise, in line with other pay rises for other members of staff, despite the fact he was already suspended or on leave due to the incident the previous year in 2023, where he was accused of paying for images of a young man, sexually explicit images of a young man, which meant he was on leave. Now, this is a really difficult one, because I can see both sides of the arguments. Just because someone is accused of something does not mean they are guilty of the said thing. However, paying someone a £40,000 pay rise when they are currently suspended from the job seems a bit misjudged, and to continue paying them when they are arrested on charges of child pornography, which you don't get arrested for, I would assume, unless there is blatant proof that you're in contact with that, or have in possession even of that product, then I don't understand why the BBC still paid him. Yes, innocent till proven guilty. Get that, 100% with that. I don't think people, particularly celebrities, should be named with sexual charges of any kind until they are found guilty of said charges. Because we've had a lot of cases recently where people have not been found guilty. Admitted, we've had a few where people have been found guilty. Your DLT, your Rolf Harris, etc., etc. But a lot of people, Cliff Richard, etc., not found guilty but named and shamed, ending careers and things like that. So I think once people have been found guilty of serious offences, particularly charges involving child exploitation or rape or anything like that, then it should be made public, yes, 100%. And then other people can come forward and then we can do trials for other people. But I don't think that just because someone is charged with something we should assume that they are guilty. Because, like, as we know already, a lot of people have been found off. Anyway, someone said, talking about Keir Starmer, I cannot stand the clueless idiot Starmer. Dream Frequency, I thought I'd give him a chance, but he's turned into a shit show. To hell on a handcart. Yes, Starmer. BBC is as corrupt as the Labour Party. Starmer's going to get a job there, apparently. Hi, Angela, don't worry. Essays and personal improvement are much more important than me chatting about the news. Do it every week anyway. The gender row boxer wins the women's gold. Gets very complicated with this boxer. Is she female? Is she not female? She's not transgender. No one's saying she is. Although a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon. But anyway, we'll look at that later on. Meanwhile, Saturday, the 10th of August, Israel kills at least 70 people after striking a school holding misplaced people. But it did say, on a lighter note, that it killed 17 Hamas people. So that's alright then. So technically, people saying they killed 70 Palestinians, but if you look at it the way Israel look at it, and the West seem to look at it, 17 of them were Hamas. So technically, they only killed, 53? You know, why are we letting Israel get away with this shit? I mean, seriously, I'm not supporting Hamas. Hamas should be destroyed. But they've already shown how they can target individuals. The most obvious one being when they killed, over a period of an hour and a half, the charity workers in 3 different cars travelling over 7 miles without killing any other civilians. So they prove they can do it, but they just choose to slaughter innocent people. If Benjamin Netanyahu is not in the Court of Human Rights within the next 2 years, then there's no justice in the world. Don't get me wrong, I don't support Hamas, I keep saying that, but there you go. I don't think Stephen Kelly and Roth are on today, are they? Or have I missed something? Oh, there he is. Yeah, sorry. I missed that one. Yeah, so Stephen, Tegs, Kelly and Rollo are all online. Also yesterday, it was the funeral of Jay Slater, the young lad who went missing for 4 weeks whilst on holiday and was found not far from where his phone last pinged 4 weeks later. Which makes you wonder what the search and rescue services are like. Apparently wouldn't have survived even though they found him within an hour of him. It was a major fall. Still stinks of something else going on, in my opinion, but obviously no proof, so therefore we'll leave it there. It was in Accrington as well where the funeral was. The Boardmasters Festival in Newquay, 7 people were injured in a crush to see a band that I've never heard of, which just shows you how out of touch I am. I'd be really annoyed if I got in a crush when I didn't even know who I was being crushed for, but anyway. And Judge says, bearing in mind this is Saturday, the judges are working because it's very important these rioters and right-wingers are put into prison. We're not bothered about the rapists, murderers, paedophiles or anyone else. They can wait till next year for their trial. You only get these people who chucks bricks and things. We'll put them in prison first. But not only that, a judge says, even watching a riot makes you a rioter. So you basically now can be arrested for being in the vicinity of people rioting, even if you are not a rioter or are there on a peaceful protest. which makes me wonder, is that a way of stopping the news corporations going there? Because the news report all these riots, they're right in the thick of it, so they're not going to go now because they don't want to be arrested. Again, it's getting like China. 6 weeks in, it's like China, Russia. You cannot do anything. You will absolutely be arrested and put in prison by this dictatorship that is the Labour Party. Hi Flink, hope you're good. Sunday the 11th, which is today. Yeah. The first funeral for the victims of the stabbing in Southport took place today. I mean, you can't imagine what the families are going through and the friends of these victims and the injured. It's just horrendous what went on. But not to worry, justice is swift, and this murdering scumbag will be trialled next year. Most people who objected to it are already in prison. 2-tier? Yeah. Russia carries out several missile and drone attacks after the Ukraine incursion into Russia, and Zelensky says, we want to push the war into the aggressor's territory. Again, he's got the balls as big as bloody the moon. It's unbelievable. But yeah, fair play to him. The only thing I can think of is they're doing that so that the incursion that's currently going on in Ukraine, some troops will be moved from there and brought round to the Kursk region, which is quite a long way away from where they're actually invading Ukraine, making it easier then for Ukraine to push the Russians back into their own territory. But either way, what can you do? Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin considered this a major provocation. Pot, kettle, non-white. Can't say black anymore because I might be described as being racist. And that's the news this week. And it's, I must admit, it's not great, is it? Which is why I'm going to show you a video clip. If you're easily disturbed, look away from this video clip now, and then we'll go into the funny news. So this is a sneak clip from my vlog, which may go up tomorrow. Oh my god, that is cold. It's a Guinness, it's cold. The problem is, it's just dripped into my nether regions, which I've got shorts on, and gone straight through. Oh, that's quite refreshing. Anyway, video clip. Again, it's not edited, it's just an actual take. The kettle's not black, no, it's rainbow colour. Rainbow colour kettle. Yeah, so it's pot calling the kettle rainbow colour. I mean, it's only recently I've realised that we're indoctrinating children for a good 10 years or so, if not longer. Baba Black Sheep is now Baba Rainbow Sheep. What does rainbows represent? Fill the gaps in. Where are we going in society?
Just to clarify what I said a minute ago, I don't like adding bushes and jump out people going, yeah, like that. I don't scare people like that. I mean, it's just because, you know, yeah. So it's more of me. Yeah. At least that's what I think.
So yeah, there you go. That's the a sneak clip of my vlog, which brings us nicely along to saying hello to Kelly. Kelly asked the question, how will they know if we're watching it? Do they mean in person or on telly? They mean in person. I mean, there's been a law around for quite a while that's particularly aimed at stabbings, and I kind of agree with this one. So if you're usually it's teenagers, so if you're with a group of teenagers and one of them's got a knife, and then you get into an altercation and the teenager with the knife stabs someone else who's not in your party, and either injures them or murders them, you, for not stopping your friend from doing that, are then capable of either manslaughter or murder. And I kind of get where that's coming from. But if you're just walking past someone, smashing a shop window of Greggs because they want some pasties for free, you shouldn't be arrested for that. literally, we are turning into a police state, and we're doing it like that. I thought we'd do it over a period of about the next 5 or 6 years. I didn't think we'd do it. Keir Starmer's in charge. We're all scum, basically, unless you're from a minority, in which case you're okay. I mean, if anything, I don't class myself as racist at all, but I do feel like I'm being pushed into being racist by Keir Starmer, who's just accusing me of being racist anyway. So, you know, what the hell? More people watching in Wigan riots than actual riots. Yeah, for no reason whatsoever, drove past Swinley 3 times on Tuesday evening around about 8 o'clock. For no reason whatsoever. I just happened to be live streaming it on YouTube. I mean, for no reason whatsoever. And I did notice quite a few police cars behind the monuments down the street, and quite a lot of people just looking very confused, and a couple of youth with face masks on, looking, well, like youth with face masks on. And that was basically it. It was like, and some shops had shut at 3 o'clock. Yeah, insane. I think it's just to nip it in the bud. If you're a little shit watching a riot, you're liable to a sentence. Yeah, and so they should. It's like school. Anyone who bullies just stands there and lets their cheerleaders. Yeah, whipping up hatreds. Definitely splitting. Angela says with Kier in charge, we're all doomed anyway. Absolutely. But I mean, I'm not changing my opinion on Keir Starmer. I'm not one of these people who said, you know, the Tories are shit, we need to get Labour in. I never said that. I always said, better the devil you know. And thus far, I've been proved right. Now, I may be eating my words in 5 years' time, and I may even be voting Labour myself. Sorry. Oh, I think dementia's kicked in. No, I won't be voting Labour anytime soon, because I have a brain. I did say, that people who voted Labour this time around should be put against a wall. Well, of course, that would get me arrested, so... I mean, put against a wall and given a handshake and a medal. Obviously. But no, I mean, the good thing about this is that there are more police on the streets. I mean, you know, he's done something that the Tories haven't managed to do for 14 years. He's put more police on the streets. And but he's still got loads of police looking at what people are writing and saying online. And it's like, no, we need to look after, we need to stop crimes. We need to, you know, stop shit going down like shoplifting and, you know, minimal crimes, things like that. Yeah, the rioters deserve everything they get, but not at the expense of people who actually deserve to be in prison if they're found guilty of, like I say, rape, paedophilia, etc. Fun and unrelated fact, I went to school with an Olympian that did taekwondo. Jay Jones sadly got knocked out in the qualifiers, but she's a double gold Olympian. Oh God, I didn't realise they knocked people unconscious in them. I thought it was just a bit of friendly banter. They're going through hours and hours of social media, absolutely. And I think people who spread fake news should be held accountable, but I don't necessarily, if they've done it with the best intentions but not, you know, they've done it once, you don't need to go to prison for that. Just like, look, don't do it again, kind of thing. I mean, we already said we're letting prisoners out early now because there's not enough room in the prisons, and then we're filling it with people who, at the best, deserve community work, i.e., you know, washing graffiti off or picking the bricks up or repairing walls around mosques, that kind of thing, rather than putting them in prison. And then suddenly we've got no room for the people who actually deserve to in prison. The whole thing is absolute bollocks. I don't normally swear, but yeah, they're definitely trying to take away freedom of speech. I mean, they've been doing this for a while. I mean, look at comedians who've said for a while, oh, another drip. It is very refreshing though when it lands down there through my very thin shorts. Ooh. Some people get jailed for not doing very much, and some get off for doing real crimes. It's a weird system. Yeah, it is. It's a bit like I've said before, this government, you know, they, 5 years ago, whenever it was, the last election, they got wiped out with MPs, and it was like the end of the Labour Party. They'll never recover from this. It's the Labour Party will just self-destruct now, blah blah blah. And then 5 years on, this year, they win a landslide victory with 1 million less votes. This is the society we're living in. It's absolutely bonkers. First time out of 4 Olympics she didn't make the medal round. It is cool, to be fair. I don't know anyone who's done anything even remotely impressive like that. Not even joking. Don't know anyone. That young lad who won the climbing thing, I'm like, what's that about? Because surely don't they watch the route by the people before, or is it a bit like Mr. and Mrs., where they're all locked into rooms before they come out, so they can't see what's going on? Because if you're like the last person, you'd be like, well, yeah, because they go up there, go along there, go up there, and then they fell off because they went that way, so I'll go that way because they got further that way, and then if I go that way, and then I can do this. But yeah, and he's 19, he looked about 12, apart from the muscles, but I mean his face looked about 12, and you're like, fair play. I couldn't even climb a tree when I was a kid. I was absolutely useless. My Guinness is melting with the heat, yeah. It is refreshing though, having cold water on your nethers. I'm not just saying I recommend it, it's just to say. I'm just saying. 1 for the 8th, oh there we go. So let's have a look at the news that makes you go, I've now stuck Australia in this, because Australia are quite funny, the stuff that they come out with, even when it's serious. And the Olympic medal tables, oh my god, you've got to love Australia. I am Michael. I've already mentioned Jimmy Savile and Kier Starmer, Michael, but yep, you're right. Bitcoin Wolf Cub, welcome as well. Anyone else who's come in? Not everyone else is pretty much the people who've been talking already. Don't forget to feel free to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. Now you're watching a man drink a Guinness that was a bit too frozen, and therefore got condensation on the outside of the glass. Every time he has a swift drink, gets his nethers ever so slightly chilled. Anyway, Australia's terror threat is raised from possible to probable. Australia's terrorism threat level has risen from possible to probable. Anthony Albanese has stressed the upgrade does not mean inevitable while making this morning's announcement. ASIO boss Mike Burgess says the move is not related to ongoing tensions in the Middle East, just coincidental. But yeah, I love it, the fact they've got possible, probable, inevitable. It's just like the bulls in Australia bull, don't they? Maybe, maybe not. Have you ever stolen a supermarket trolley? Is asked in Australia. Have you ever taken a supermarket trolley or basket from a supermarket? A surprising number of Aussies have admitted to doing just that, with some even revealing they did it out of spite. Gen Z were the worst offenders, with 30% of those surveyed by Finder admitting they went home with more than just groceries. Tesco in Wigan's got this. I've never tried it. I need to try it one day. They've got this thing where the wheel locks on the trolley if you take it over a certain part of the out of the car park. But yeah, I don't know how you nick a trolley. Although a lot of them do end up in canals, so they must have been stolen, shouldn't they? Mustn't they? Australian spirit tax raised again, making it the 3rd highest in the world. They got the bronze medal for something. Well done, Australia. An evening cocktail or gin and tonic is about to get more expensive, with Australia's spirit tax lifted again. The tax is now sitting at $103 Australian dollars 89 cents per litre. It's the 3rd highest in the world. Now $103.89 Australian dollars equates to about £2.50 UK. Industry experts say the increase is likely to affect prices for consumers in nightlife venues. What, you mean the tax goes up and it's going to affect the punters? What are the two things that have been most talked about in the Olympic Games this year? Bearing in mind, I watched the end of the opening ceremony, which was the dullest thing ever. I watched some of the closing ceremony whilst having my tea, which was the dullest thing ever. They had a band on there that was like a wannabe French U2, with even less talent than U2. But no, what are the two things, when you think of this Olympic Games, what are the two things you're going to remember for it? Where is Tesco in Wigan, please, Elder? Yeah, Central, it does have a cafe and it doesn't take cash now. The cafe is cashless. Where's the Tesco in Wigan? It's on the old Central Park rugby ground. However, the actual store itself is on the training ground behind it, and the car park is where the rugby ground was. I know this because I saw a photograph recently on social media. So what I asked you, what are the two things you can think about for the Olympic Games this year? Agenda 21 for sure, which I assume is something to do with equal rights and all that shit. And being crap. Well, yeah, probably. Like I said, I didn't watch anything. No, not Tiny Tesco. Tiny Tesco. No, that's an old pub. Tiny Tesco. Tiny. You obviously watch the driving videos. No, it's basically the boxing and men's genitals. Particularly this guy. Oh, hang on. Pole vaulter breaks silence after unfortunate incident saw his penis ruin chances of a medal. And fans saying it's the best way to lose. Now, I'm not an expert on these things, because that's not a problem I would have if I was a pole vaulter, I'll be honest with you. But French pole vaulter Anthony Amaratis' manhood prevents him from medaling at the Paris 2024. They could have worded that slightly better. Medaling. It's like someone who died recently, and one of the headlines was, he touched many people. But they meant emotionally, but it just came across a bit weird. But yeah, basically the man's junk, and there was loads of penis-related stuff going on in the Olympics. We had the swimmer who had these shorts which were see-through. I mean, they weren't. Not that, you know, I've looked into it at all, but they weren't. And then you also had, I think it was another French guy, maybe the French are just well endowed, who had, was it Italian? Who had swimming trunks that basically looked like he had an aubergine in the front of his trunks. Yeah, it's just bonkers. I would have won. Yeah, dream frequency. But Alan says I haven't seen a single minute of the Olympics. Me neither. Bitcoin says I haven't either. And junk was out of the trunk. Well, it was in the trunk. I mean, that's, you know, that's a pretty pretty image of it. I must admit, he's been offered parts in adult movies. I mean, he's already got a part, so I don't think he needs to have a part in adult movies. But anyway, let's move on, shall we, from penises. Me neither, says Angela. I should hope not. This is ITV News. Deputy Commissioner Charlie Pugsley told ITV News that e-bike and e-scooter fires were the fastest growing fire trend in London, and that faulty conversion kits bought online are partly to blame. So basically lithium batteries are causing a considerable number of fires now in London, and they are the rising thing because, as I said last week, most people nowadays either don't fry, they have an air fryer, so they don't fry chips in a frying pan on the hob anymore, which was the main reason for fires in kitchens back in the day, or if they do fry them in oil, they have a proper fryer now like you have in a chip shop. But anyway, yeah, electric, not the way forward, no matter what Alan says. Meanwhile, in Queensland, Australia, transport fares slashed to 50 cents. So, 50 Cent is on tour in Australia, and to encourage him to use public transport, when he gets on, they're slashing the price of the fare for him, because he's 50 cents. At least I think that's what it's on about. Because I thought it was electric buses going on fire in London. Lithium batteries are a fire risk. Yes, which is why I would never buy an electric car of any kind. Certainly not second hand anyway. But yeah, either that or it means the fare prices in Australia, Queensland, have gone down to 50 cents, which equates to about half a pence. I can't see that, so it must be 50 Cent on tour. You know, the rapper. Great photo of Tom Daley and Noah Williams about to perform the very difficult inward 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist with Pike. If you never watched, what's it called? Dad's Army, you won't get that joke, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good meme. The thing that does scare me is the fact that Tom Daley is now like a middle-aged man. It's like, when did that happen? Can someone shut down Alan Barton, please? I'll just let him buy an electric car and burn his house down, that'd be alright. Worlds fail me. Common sense, you can't buy it. And it's a guy watching some sporting events with a baseball cap on, with a baseball cap a la Lando Norris, backwards, using his hands to cover his eyes from the shade. Everyone else around him has got the baseball cap the right way around, where the peak of the hat is doing it. Don't tell them, Pike. Yeah, one of the most famous moments in TV involved Pike, who's on the right there, just to clarify, which is basically Dad's Army, which was a Mickey take of the army. Basically, it was just the government to try and get people who wouldn't be able to join the army to actually feel like they're doing something. So they were called the Home Guard, and Pike is like the young kid who's as thick as pig shit, and he's in there, and there's a bit where he's sat on the top of a ladder with a gun, and they've got some prisoners, and the German prisoner says, I'm something on the lines of, I don't like the way you're treating us, I'm going to take all your names and make a complaint or whatever. And Pike's on top of his ladders and he's going, whistle while you work, Hitler is a Burke, he is barmy, so's his army, whistle while you work. And he goes, yeah, what is your name? And then the captain, Mannering, who's the leader of this ramshackled group of old men, says, don't tell him, Pike. So they go, Pike, and writes down Pike. And it is hilarious. You've got to watch it, really. It's certainly more fun than me describing it, but it was hilarious. Travel alert. Australia has issued a travel alert for the UK amid ongoing riots. Those travelling to the country are urged to exercise a high degree of caution and avoid areas where protests are occurring due to the potential for disruption and violence. Add to that the fact that they could be arrested. Yeah. So, yeah, the UK now, apparently, is not a safe place for Australians. I mean, of all Australians, of all people, Jesus. They love a good scrap. So this is, again, reported in Australia. So what do you think is the meaning behind this art, they ask? A mural depicting a goat, purportedly by street artist Banksy, has been shared on his Instagram account. These are various theories online of what the London mural could mean. And basically, I think it means we are teetering on the edge of society. That's what I get out of that, because Banksy is a very vocal talker of stuff that goes on. We're getting a lot of adverts, I do apologise. Now this is a parody Kier Starmer account, which I don't follow, which just pops up every now and then, probably because I mention Kier Starmer a lot, you know, 2T Kier. But this is how Tommy Robinson sees himself versus how everyone else sees him. And again, it's Pike. It's like, he thinks he's Rambo, but everyone else thinks he's Pike, thick as pig shit. I have no time for Tommy Robinson. Occasionally he says something that you're like, nah. But most of the time you're like, no, you're a dickhead. The horns look satanic. No, it's Stallone's pecs, that, and his nipples. They're not horns. Oh, sorry, you mean the goat. The goat looks satanic. Yeah, well, that's Keir Starmer, isn't it? Allegedly. You know when you write a sign to ask people to do things, you know, like a public information sign, in order for people to understand what you're writing about, it's always best to make it make sense. No, not. For example, what the hell? I mean, I know what it's saying. I just don't understand how it's saying it. Return please here cards. Or, no, return please here cards, or return here please cards. Or should it be return cards here please? But then you're doing it diagonal. It's absolute nonsense. But yeah, some people, they're like the Labour, now they're in power. Where do you get this news from, Elder? Worse than the Daily Mail. I thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Meanwhile, in Australia, this is the medal table on day 11 of Australia. Now, if you look, Australia have got 14 gold medals. They've got 12 silver medals and 9 bronze medals, which is 35 medals, 35 points. No, 35 medals. So they put themselves third. Whereas France has got 48 points and Great Britain has got 46 points. So technically, if you're going off the point scale, Australia should be 5th, France should be 3rd and Great Britain should be 4th. But it's Australia, and all they care about is Australia. So they're going to just make it look like Australia are doing better than what they're really doing. That went a bit mad, didn't it? Meanwhile, pet duck promise. Not only will Ariza True return home with a gold medal coast, return to the Gold Coast as Australia's youngest ever gold medalist, she'll also become a pet duck owner. Her parents have promised her the gift if she won the skateboarding women's part final, which she succeeded doing in the early morning. So yeah, she's now got a duck that she'll probably run over a skateboard practicing, to be fair, so that was a waste of money, wasn't it? Pet duck owner, yeah, exactly. A hockey team member arrested. Now when I say member, we're on about the whole person, not just, I mean, to be fair, going off the members that we've seen so far, some of them could probably play hockey just with their own member. But no, this is a hockey team member, and it's a whole human. A member of the Australian hockey team has been arrested in Paris. A local report said the team member was arrested after buying cocaine on a street on the 9th arrondissement of Paris. Charges are yet to be laid, and the Australian Olympic Committee has said it is continuing to make inquiries and arrange support for the team member. So basically what that means is they're going to find a more reliable source for the cocaine. That's all I can think it is. Too much members tonight. Yeah, and then I mean, you think about it, Keir Starmer's a massive member, isn't he? You know, what can you do? Now, we said earlier on regarding the Banksy that we weren't sure it was a Banksy or not. Well, this is on the Banksy account. New Banksy, day 1, queue in London. And if you notice, there's actually a camera there looking at it as well, which we didn't see on the first picture. It's a security camera, CCTV camera, looking at the goats. And then, day 2, in Chelsea, we've got this, which is 2 elephants touching trunks, not trunks, trunks, or members. Let's sod it. I'm not going to get monetized for this anyway, so let's just say members, shall we? Through 2 blocked off windows in an end, gable end of, I assume, some very posh houses. And then, New Banksy Day 3 on Brick Lane in London. And these people to the left have not even noticed that there's a new Banksy of some monkeys swinging across the bridge with a train going over said bridge over a road. I mean, we say it's all bad news. You know, this week's news has been bad, terrible, horrible and shocking. It's not all bad though. Shamia Begum will never be allowed to return to the UK after losing... Why are we getting so many adverts? I'm stopping that one. I do apologise for all these adverts. It's really... I can't stop it. Oh, there we go. Why are we getting so many adverts? We never get this many adverts. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Shamia Begum will never be allowed to return to the UK after losing final court bid. And someone's written... Oh, Andrea Walker from Talk TV says, proof we can protect our borders. The Supreme Court refused to hear her appeal to challenge the removal of British citizenship. Now, if you're not familiar with Shamia Begum, she was a 15-year-old along with two other people. I don't know whether they were sisters or friends. I can't remember now. It was a while ago. And they basically fled the country and ended up in ISIS. And they got married off to ISIS fighters. The other two were killed either by ISIS or in the general war that went on against ISIS. She's had 2 or 3 children. Sadly, none of the children who were innocents in this survived. And she was only 15 when she left the country. Now, the way I look at it is, if she'd have shown a modicum of remorse or everything, I'd give her the benefit of the doubt. You're 15 years old, you don't know what you're doing, blah 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 blah. But she was interviewed a few years ago with the full burqa on, so you know that, and saying that she'd seen people being murdered and she'd supported her husband through this, that and the other, and she's seen people being executed, she's seen people being raped and all that kind of stuff. And she almost did it gleefully. And I thought, this person has not learnt their lesson. And then, when that went really wrong, I mean, this is even before Prince Andrew, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt for doing an interview. Prince Andrew should have maybe thought about that before he did his interview. And then there's other ones since. But either way, she then suddenly became this trendy Westerner looking person with the long hair, the glasses you can see there, the slightly open blouse, but not too revealing, obviously. And trying to be really cool. And I'm like, no, you've blown it. As far as I'm concerned, you can stay wherever you are. And that's the end of it. Banksy nicked his style off Blick Lirat. If you know graph history, he's a tosser. Oh, okay then. Wonder how he gets his ladders up to do those paintings without being seen. Yeah, good question. He must do it at night. Well, Bitcoin. Hey. Genius. Talking of night, have you ever driven on roads at night and wondered where the road markings are because there's no lights on it? M61, anyone? How's about this? Australia is testing out glow-in-the-dark roads. I mean, it looks very Tron-like to me. It feels like you're in the movie Tron. I kind of like it in a weird way. Now, I'm not sure, because I've not read the article, but I'm not sure whether or not they absorb the light from the sun and then they glow, or whether it's the reflection from car headlights that do it. Now, I would hope it was reflection from car headlights, because surely that is going to be really bad for night animals, nocturnal animals, seeing these lights, particularly moths. And that kind of thing. You only come out at night and there's these things glowing in the streets. It's going to be very peculiar for them. But it does seem a reasonable solution. And it's certainly better, in my opinion, than the cat's eyes, which in the older days were made from actual cat's eyes. Not a lot of people know that. No, it wasn't. They were made out of clear marbles. The cat's eyes, come on. I mean, tennis rackets are made out of cat guts. Yeah. But they never use their eyes. Phew, too squishy. They use them for the balls. Anyway, yeah, I do like that. And possibly don't like it at the same time. Meanwhile, two-tier justice at its finest. Elon Musk's asked the question, what the hell is going on? This is what's happening in the UK right now. Someone who posted a fascist, racist comment on Facebook has got 15 weeks in jail. Someone who sold anti-immigration stickers has got 24 months in prison. And a guy who allegedly raped a 12-year-old girl has got 180 hours and no prison time. And yeah, someone said Elon is on the mark again. Meanwhile, someone's knocking out the door, someone's ringing the bell. You're going to get a 2-year sentence. You're going to hell. Yeah, Keir Starmer now is an absolute... Oh, God. Very few people I despise more than Elon Musk. Not Elon Musk. Keir Starmer at the minute. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. The majority of them have the same thing in common. Dictators. Putin. Kim Jong-un. Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah, and yeah, I'm now chuck Keir Starmer in there as well. Even though he's not actually killed anyone yet, but give it time. I made a terrible mistake and take full responsibility for my actions. I embarrassed you all. I am truly sorry, says Tom Craig, Olympic ice hockey player, whose member got him in trouble. No, he's the member. Australian hockey player Tom Craig has apologised after being arrested for buying cocaine in Paris just days after the team's Olympic campaign came to an end. I mean, to be fair, if they were still playing, that would be a very bad move. But I mean, you know, it's coming to an end. You know, you're in Rome, when in Rome, and all that kind of thing. No. Can you imagine him playing? I imagine in 5 years' time he'll be the captain, totally reformed, probably with a massive beard. Here we go. Nans against Nazis. So these idiotic, brainwashed fools, and Josh Widdicombe, are actually saying that they don't agree with anyone who doesn't agree that immigrants and illegal migrants should stay in the UK unchecked. And these are the first people who will lose their women's rights should, at any point in the future, the Muslim become the majority. End of. Someone will try and arrest him. Musk, yeah. So, yeah, absolute fools. Meanwhile, this is obviously an area with potholes. And someone's... the potholes have been filled in, which is a miracle in itself, but someone has scrolled or painted on, probably Banksy, I've seen holes filled in better on Pornhub. Now, I've no idea what Pornhub is, genuinely, but I can imagine what it is. No one believes me when I say I never even look at anything like that. I was like, oh yeah, of course you do, you're a bloke, you've got to. I'm like, no. But yeah, it's very funny. I mean, it's not, you know, if it's outside of school or something, it's definitely not apt. What's Pornhub? Meanwhile, Peter Davison, a former Doctor from the original series, and David Tennant, and you probably can't read it, but this is obviously some kind of Comic-Con. Oh yeah, it's Wales Comic-Con, and Peter Davison is holding up a piece of paper saying he's not that special, which is nice to see, a bit of banter between current former Doctors, I don't know. Meanwhile, you please say the Australians have learnt their lesson from their medal table manipulation. Oh no, they haven't. They are still in third place. Meanwhile, France has got 51 points, which is 10 more than them, and they're in fourth place on their table. and Great Britain have got 49 points, which is 8 more than them, and they're in 5th place. But Australia is in 3rd place. I mean, I've just put themselves at the top. You know, the most number of purchases of crack cocaine. You know, they'd be number 1 then, wouldn't they? There was some sad news, and to be fair, I thought this news had already happened. Last time this happened for me was Stavenant, whatever he was called, who played Fred in Coronation Street. Ashley, no, Ashley. It seemed he died, or I've got in my head he died not long after he left Coronation Street. And then I thought he died about 5 or 6 years ago, but then he actually died about 2 years ago. So for me, he's died 3 times. And this guy, I heard, and I had no proof whether he had it or hadn't, died not long after this video was shot. And as far as I'm aware, this is one of the first, other than Charlie bit my finger, viral videos to go around. And I'm sorry to say, it does involve penises. I mean, you could say this show's been a massive cock-up. Well, not in my case. Certainly in that pool voter's case, anyway. But anyway, here we go. Chinese meal man has died. The man behind one of Aussie's greatest memes, Jack Carlson, has died at the age of 82. In 1991, outside China Sea restaurant in Brisbane's Fortune Valley, Carlston bellowed a line that would eventually make him a massive viral sensation. "What's the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?" And it kind of went on, "Underhand me. Why are you holding me? You've touched my penis. My succulent, juicy Chinese penis." No, maybe not. But yeah, I mean, it was hilarious. And one of the first memes that I could get behind. To be fair, it might have even been before Charlie bit my finger. Because it just was of that moment. And his character was just fantastic. Really, really good. And Democracy Manifest dying behind iconic succulent Chinese meme dies. The man behind the legendary meme who declared his arrest at a Chinese restaurant was, that was it, Democracy Manifest. Lived a wild life from fake names to daring prison escapes. So he was a character. Gotta be said. Anyway, sadly, he has finally now passed away. News just in, a powerful earthquake has struck off Japanese southern coast, triggering an urgent tsunami warning. The 7.1 magnitude quake is predicted to bring waves of up to 1 metre along the southern coast of Kyushu and nearby island of Shizuku. Happily, nothing happened. Meanwhile, in the world of Banksy, day 4, Rye Lane, Peckham, London. And there was a picture, obviously, of when it was done at night, and then a picture in the daytime. Daytime, nighttime. Nighttime, daytime. And it's on a satellite dish. And that's one of my favourite ones, to be fair, of this group. But not to worry, there are some absolute scroats who just kind of run off with it. With a ladder, to be fair, they came prepared. They showed up with a ladder, they unscrewed it, they took it down, and off they went. And the big question is, how are they going to get, who's going to buy it? Because if you buy it, you can't show it anywhere, because it's stolen property, and it's a Banksy, so everyone knows it. So absolute scum. I mean, that could give pleasure to hundreds, thousands of people, and now it's gone now. But not to worry. If you've got a problem, if you've been traumatised by the mention of penises and members, cocks and various other male genitalia during the process of this broadcast, you can always ring our customer service and helpline, manned by our call centre cat. Oh, that's genius. I mean, I say genius, that's just nature, isn't it? But yeah, call centre cat. Love it. It is, yeah, I mean, silence has actually got an absolute perfect square on her top lip where her whiskers come out, which is pretty cool. We're only serving time for Nigel, says some far left pillock. Yeah, it's not how it works. Meanwhile, went on vacation, holiday, and what's it? Went on vacation with my husband, and this is the only photo we took. When I asked him why, he said it reminds of himself soaking in the bath. I mean, it would remind me of soaking in the bath as well, if I had baths. I only shower. And also if the water was very, very low indeed. So yeah, otherwise, nah. Get more sense than Virgin Media from the call centre cat, definitely. Day 13. France now is in 4th place. Great Britain is in 5th place, even though Great Britain has got... Oh no, actually no, this is legit now. In fact, if anything, it's not legit, because Australia, by their own reckoning, has overtook them. Oh my God. Australia screwed itself. Not for the first time. Meanwhile, Banksy. This is day 6, and this is Bonner's Fish Bar. And there's a couple of pelicans, one eating caught a fish, and the other one trying to catch a fish from the sign. Again, dead simple but genius. As is this. I mean, this kid has got a career as a lookalike. Not even joking you. Little dude looks like he's about to make fishing great again. I mean, it's... Oh, shred fin fishing. And kid's even got a shred fin fishing a vest on as well. But that is absolutely... It's genius. It's absolutely... I actually thought it was Donald Trump when I first saw it. It's, you know, you're scrolling through stuff. I had to go back and like, what the hell? No, it's a kid. But yeah, hilarious. Please do not tie dogs or bicycles to the fencing, thank you. This is some roadworks going on, and someone's tied a laminated, picture of a dog riding a bicycle to the fence. Which again, that's British humour, isn't it? Absolutely bob on. Meanwhile, sniffer dogs finds crack. Well, you know, we've got to keep it balanced coverage, haven't we? Step 2, reverse the letters. Now, if you've ever been in a car, particularly driving, you won't notice it if you're not driving, but if you're in a car and you're driving and you look in the mirror and there's an ambulance or something equivalent behind you, that on the front actually says ambulance because it's been reversed. When you look in the mirror, you see it the right way around, which is why when you're looking at an ambulance, it's backwards. But what someone's done here is they've just put the letters backwards, so it would still be, it'd be forwards but backwards if you looked in your rear view mirror. Like, what the hell is going on there? Meanwhile, back into politics. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says racist people should be refused health care on the NHS. And Alex Phillips said North Korean levels of Stalinism are coming out of these people. And this was on the talk TV show Plank of the Week. And yeah, they're not wrong. We are going down the Stalinist route, and it is becoming like North Korea. We'll soon be having to get our own food off the side of canals. Which, to be fair, I've seen people doing today, because apparently it's blackberry season. So West Streeting MP said he avoided an interview but just read the page 8 Guardian on Chris Woodhead. Want to smash him around the head with a baseball bat, moron. Now, we haven't had proof that this hasn't been a hacked account or whatever. Again, don't believe everything you see, AI, blah 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 blah. But if it is true, West Streeting should not be a member of politics. And as James Whale MBE says, another political thug. A lot of protests were just stupid kids. I don't think they knew what was happening. No, they don't know why they were there. There's loads of blackberries this year, there are. Well, I hope not any. And don't call me Shirley. I'll get a call. Imane Kier wins gold. It's a proud moment for Algeria today, with Imane Kier making history for taking the nation's first gold medal in boxing. After recently being in the spotlight for misconceptions surrounding her gender, the 25-year-old defeated Chinese boxer Yang Lu in a unanimous decision. And a lot of people are saying, bloke beats up women in a boxing ring and people celebrate it. It's more complicated than that, I suppose, although I hate saying that because that's what Lisa Nandy said. But anyway, let's move on. The new cap has been chosen. There's a picture of a cat wearing a croc on its head. I don't even know how a cat would get a croc on its head. However, this one has managed the said feat, although technically it's for its feet, but it's using its head. A croc cat, caca crocked. And meanwhile, in surprising news, Team USA takes the gold medal for men's basketball after defeating France in a heated final. You mean one of the national sports of America that very few of the world teams play to the level America plays it? America's won the gold medal. Wow, who saw that coming? This is day 7, another Banksy. And it says here, good luck to anyone trying to remove this one. Banksy day 7 has arrived in Ludgate Hill, City of London. Have I missed one here? Because there's definitely another one. Have I missed it? Or is that coming up? Oh no, it's coming up. It's coming up, it's alright, don't panic. Don't panic. And then there's a picture of a police officer, City of London Police, slow. And there's a picture of a police officer taking a picture of it. Whether it's to, arrest Banksy for saying that the police are slow or whatever, I don't know. Pet owners' farts are turning Brit cats and dogs into nervous wrecks, apparently. Brit pet owners are reportedly accidentally turning their furry friends into bags of nerves with some daily disgusting habits, such as farting, a new survey has revealed. Well, maybe we should stop becoming vegetarian then, not that I ever would, but there you go. Meanwhile, Blackpool Pier evacuated as a woman plunges through a hole onto the beach in a horror fall. Blackpool Pier has been shut down this evening after a woman fell through a hole to the beach below as horrified witnesses did not know if she had survived the fall. She had survived the fall, but she was severely injured despite landing on sand. If the tide had been in, she'd probably drowned, to be fair. I mean, it's just horrendous. And we always joke, don't we? You know, you're walking on pier, you're not going to fall through the cracks. Well, that's just going to absolutely make people's fears manifest magnificently. Elon Musk plans for 8 more Neuralink implants by the end of the year in a huge update. An unnamed second patient has the chip successfully implanted, according to Musk. And speaking to MIT research scientist Lex Friedman on his podcast, he confirmed plans for even more. Onto sound. It is a fair drop, you're right. You kind of forget how high peers are. Why we eat less when it's hot? It's not because we're too busy getting a tan. Now, I've known this for years. I've even said to my mum for years, and everyone else, I eat a lot less in the summer than I do in winter. And that's because I'm warm. I eat more food in the winter because you use that to make energy to keep you warm. Anyway, apparently, they've just discovered this medical fact, and it's made the news. I mean, really? Like saying next, if we don't breathe, we die. Shit, do we? Major fashion brand to close all 46 shops in New Blow to High Street. Don't panic though, it's Ted Baker. First launched in Scotland in 1988, but has now closed all shops for good after administrators were unable to find a way to save it and 46 high street stores. So Ted Baker is no more from Scotland. Ted Baker no more. Scotland no more. This is a scientific breakthrough. Yes, Annie, I think you're on delay, but yeah, definitely is. Maximum jail term for rioting Jobs crying in court will fall into one of 4 camps. Riots have erupted in Stockport, Hull, Halifax, Liverpool, London, Southport, Rotherham and beyond, with a number of people having been arrested and remanded in custody. Yeah, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't believe in rioting or anything like that, but the treatment people are getting is just ridiculous. Hugh Edwards' prison life will see shit hit the fan, new job and agonising decision. From agonising who will remain loyal to him for visits to landing a different kind of job, hear a former inmate explain what potential prison stint could look like for paedophile Hugh Edwards. He's done plea bargaining, hasn't he? Gotta go, cheese make. Yep, no worries, you stay, see you soon, bye. 1 million study links kebabs to food poisoning. No, Bitcoin, surely. Surely, no. Whew. Who would have thought that about you, indeed? Anyway, bye, Annie. Exact date, major cinema chains will close several sites across the UK. A full list, didn't look at it. Both Odeon and Cineworld have been struggling in recent years and have now both confirmed that several major sites are going to be closing immediately across the UK. Yet Wigan Council is still going to build a brand new cinema at multi-million pounds expense in the town centre with no parking anywhere nearby. NASA scientists suggest reason we haven't found aliens yet, and it's pretty simple. Yeah, they don't can exist. I mean, it doesn't get more simple than that, does it? In my humble opinion, and I'm not even a scientist. But yeah, it's a dead simple reason we've not found them. Meanwhile, cats have been given bad press. They aren't aloof and standoffish like we think. Cats are often looked a bit like marmites for most people, and it's often down to their standoff and sometimes loner nature. But apparently we've wrongly stereotyped them. No, we haven't. I've had numerous cats over the years, and none of them like me unless I'm feeding them. And that isn't, you know, that's just a fact. Meanwhile, that kid, remember the kid, the Trump kid? He's back on again. There he is. Donald Trump mocked again as he's now at his fat Elvis stage of his career. After being mocked for turning orange by Brit rocker Sir Rod Stewart this week, the jokes about former US President Trump continue as compared to the late rock and roll king. So basically saying that he's just keeping going even though he probably shouldn't do. I didn't know you could see my eyes. There you go. I think it's more Wigan Council pulling strings with Keir Starmer, to be fair. So this is on. This is British mainstream media. Obviously, this was Tuesday. Exact UK protest locations tonight as locals fear riots at 100 gatherings. More UK riots are feared tonight as 41 police forces across the country step up measures to target disorder amongst hateful and divisive groups after the Southport stabbings. Why is this being publicised before it happens? Because it's fake news and everyone seems to be in on it. At least that's where I'm coming from now. By the way, if I mysteriously disappear, I'm obviously onto something. Ukraine already has nuclear weapons From the West claims Russian state TV, which is a trustworthy outlet, almost as trustworthy as the BBC. Despite the fact that Ukraine actually became nuclear free in 1994 with the signing of the Budapest Memorandum, a pro-Kremlin mouthpiece claimed on TV the country has Western nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons? Which we, well, I don't know whether they do or not. UK prepper says people are rushing to buy crossbows from his shop as riots rage. Lee Price owns Bugouts in Bullif Wells in Wales, and said that people have been flocking to his store to buy essential and sign up to the specialised survival course he runs. Basically, he's just seen somewhere where he can cash in on other people's misery and criminality. I mean, talk about being an opportunist prick. There's one. Talking of which, uncontacted Amazon tribe fire arrows at loggers trespassing on their land. The Machu Prayo tribe in southeastern Peru are resorting to some extreme measures in a bid to ward off illegal loggers who are hiking down their Amazonian homeland. 100% with the tribe's people, 0% with the loggers. Wife stabs husband after finding snaps of younger woman. Turned out they were old pictures of her. During a violent assault, the woman known as Leonora R. is reported to have thrown insults at him, with her husband eventually managing to snatch the knife away from her. Yeah, there's a Tesco trolley on the beach. You're a bad man, Bitcoin. You're obviously taken over from NE on this one, but yeah, carry on. Stop! Carry on. Katie Price arrested at airport after returning from £10,000 facelift in Turkey. Katie Price has been away in Turkey as a warrant for arrest was issued after failing to show up to bankruptcy hearing last month. Police were waiting at the airport and she was arrested. No further details into that event. Meanwhile, major store to close 47 shops before end of summer. Latest UK High Street blow. Another familiar face in the UK High Street is set to close several more stores as popular pharmacy and beauty store Boots aims to make huge savings of around £618 million a year. High Street is in turmoil. Did you know you could buy points for Microsoft, Xbox, PlayStation, for Fortnite, for Roblox, or Roboblox, whatever it's called, Amazon and all that kind of stuff from Boots? They can in Wigan anyway. Who knew? Boxing, Man Keith wins Olympic gold medal at Paris Games. It's got a different top on. How does that work? Algeria's Iman Keith has won a gold medal at the Paris Olympics after overcoming opponent Yang Lu in the final tonight as the controversial row over failed test continues. I mean, surely if you're banned from one organisation, where are you allowed to compete in another organisation? That's probably one of the things we need to look at. Not all the shops, Bitcoin, of Boots, only 46. I would imagine town centre ones where there's one in a out-of-town shopping centre. So Wigan, maybe, I don't know. Brits are thieving from office pens to packets of printer paper. Some 38% of British workers have taken pens or pencils from their office, while 22% have siphoned off notepads and 18% have taken a pack or two of printer paper. But let's be honest, a lot of people are working from home now, so they're actually using it for work. That's why they're taking it home with them. Do not, mark people down with things and stuff there. Forget bums, legs or flowing locks. Brits say eyes are the sexiest body part. More than a third, 34%, say someone's eyes were the biggest turn on when it came to looks. Hair was a hit for just 1 in 10, followed by a person's lips, mouths or legs at 7%, a study found. So it's not boobs and bums anymore, it's now eyes. And I must admit, I do find eyes quite attractive on people. Not in a kind of way, but some people's eyes are just mesmerising. Yeah, so I can see where that's coming from. Coincidence both close exactly the same number of shops. Yeah, that's what I thought as well, to be fair. It was a bit weird. Here he is. This is the guy with his nipple in the wrong place. Let's not worry about that. UK right yobs mocked for taking country back one gingerbread man at a time. Looters made off with food from Greggs and fake Crocs from Shoe Zone as town centres across the country. It's a little bit over-exaggerating. Descended into chaos, but now the law is catching up with them. Yeah, basically, you can't see it, but this young guy has got a tray and he's coming out of Greggs. So I imagine it's raw pasties or sausage rolls or whatever that he's got, and he's taking them home for his mum for his tea. And she won't beat him about the head with a baseball bat, will she? Oh, well done, son, well done. You could have put your shirt on, couldn't you? Jesus, the shame on the family. Eyes are number one for me, followed by smile, says Dream Frequency. There you go. Actually, let my eyes doing that. Not doing that again. Peter Andre, sure aliens are real, as people find with mystifying chips in them. Peter Andre has claimed. Sorry. Why are we listening to Peter Andre about aliens? Peter Andre has claimed that there is something fishy going on, saying, but when you've got thousands of millions of people experiencing stuff, you've got to take a bit of notice, or bit of notice, I reckon. No. Peter Andre, the voice of reason. Remember, he was married to Jordan. My 7-year-old son said he died in the 9/11 plane crash and dreams he's under rubble. Cade became obsessed with planes and was terrified of tall buildings when he was 3. He told his family he died in the World Trade Center during the 9/11 terror attacks. Now this is slightly terrifying. I've got a lad who's 15 who comes into the shop and tells me that he was born on the day Michael Jackson died, and he's Michael Jackson reincarnated, and he's got the moves and he's got the voice, except he hasn't got the moves or the voice. Yeah. But having said that, my personal experience from a very young age, obsessed with Pompeii. I mean obsessed to the point where I wanted to go to Pompeii. I don't anymore. But yeah, I felt the need to go to Pompeii, but I had no idea why. So yeah, maybe there is something in it. Because what happens when we die? Is that it? Just switch off? Like Terminator? Like that? Well, that was more like... That was more like... what was it? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Which isn't the same thing at all. But yeah, do we go on after life? Or do we, do our souls go somewhere else? Because... yeah, energy has to go from somewhere to somewhere else. It doesn't just disappear. So yeah, interesting question. In 1980, when every soft drink bottle on the shelf was glass. I know every single one of them is... oh, no, they're not. There's Dr. Pepper there as well. But yeah, do you remember when everything was glass? And we used to recycle it. I used to have the guy coming around with the truck full of pop. The pop man. And we would buy pop off him, and you get sixpence back on every bottle you give him back, and then it would be taken back to wherever and washed and refilled, relabelled. The ultimate recycling, none of this plastic shit that we have now. And how much of the plastic stuff actually gets recycled? Let's be honest, how much of it actually ends up in the landfill? Mainly because how many bins do you walk past when you're on your estate or your street and you see that people have incorrectly, put stuff in the wrong bin? Alpine, that was it. I couldn't think of the name. You got 12p a bottle. Yeah, but you're older than me, younger than me. So yeah, and stay away from this guy. To be fair, he does look like the Terminator T2000, but he's according to this, he's took out 5 cats, 11 rabbits, 3 squirrels they're ordered to get hold of, 5 disabled people. 11 mobility scooters, 3 elderly couples, and 6 cyclists. I know it's only a joke, but it is funny. I do get that kind of humour. It does work with me. And that brings us to the breaking news. So what has been going on while I've been going on? Yeah. Oh, GB News have asked the question, do you think Karma is a good leader? Vote now. Rachel Reeves slapped with huge £47 billion cover-up bill that could shake the UK's economy. Well, could possibly go wrong. Drivers may be hit with a £400 bill for using car during UK's 34-degree temperatures. UK ministers warned to prepare for tough decisions on spending. This is from the Labour Rachel Reeves, first woman Chancellor, who's basically doing Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng impression. So yeah, well done you. Yeah, if you vote for her anyway. Head teacher opens up on his fears children to suffer due to Labour's controversial tax plans. Starmer leads the charge against illegal immigration. Yeah, right. Covering up Churchill's urinal in Chancellor's office would cost £8,000, but Rachel Reeves wants to do it because she's not a woman. She's not a man, I mean. Well, she's not human, let's be honest. UK fast food chain coming to UK, giving McDonald's a run for its money. I know Wendy's has opened up fairly locally-ish. A former party veteran, a Labour Party veteran, says we're too frightened to talk about immigration. Greek wildfires spread as firefighters battle flames near Athens. Full list of boot stores to close after the summer. Is yours on the list? Daily Express. Okay, it's clickbait, but I clicked on it. Is yours on the list? Putney. Mornington Crescent, Newbridge, Palmer's Green, all London. Oh, was that it? So it's not a full list at all. So Wickes is closing stores as well. WH Smith's is closing more stores. Tesco is closing its superstore at Chippenham. Marks and Spencer's are closing their store in Redhill in Surrey. Next is also planning closures as well. But the list of 47. Oh, Boots is closing hundreds of branches to save 618 million. Oh, right, okay. Boots have closed 253 stores since June 23, and 47 more are expected to close after summer. So that's alright then, we don't need to panic. Households warned to shut windows and close curtains from now until Tuesday. I know, I do anyway, because when it's this hot I like to walk around the house naked. I live on my own, so I do close the curtains for, you know, the sake of the neighbours. Why Rachel Reeves' raid on pensioners will end in tears? Well, of course it will, because they'll find ways of getting around it. Plus Rachel Reeves thought, you know what, we can pick on the pensioners because most of them will be dead before the next general election, so they're not going to not vote for us. Forgetting completely that when they do die, the inheritance that they had will not go to their family, and therefore the family won't vote for them. So yeah, you're an absolute moron. There was a popular TV series to return to BBC with some major cast changes. I don't know the woman on the picture. UK weather storm chaos to arrive in Britain. 3 regions set for be battered by 40-mile-an-hour winds. Pensioners to cost Treasury $15 billion a year in housing benefits because more people are now claiming stuff. Neurological conditions leading to cause of disability and ill health worldwide. 7 types of fish you should never eat. Well, one of them is a living fish. The huge new £1 billion town in UK countryside that bosses are struggling to fill. Traffic lights could be getting a new colour, it's not new news. Warning over blood-sucking bug that drinks for days and leaves disease. Masks should be banned at protests in crackdown on balaclava-clad thugs. Now I kind of agree with this in a weird way. I believe that if you, I've said this before on here, before Labour were in government, but if you believe enough in a cause to travel to meet other like-minded people to protest against it, why are you covering your face up? If you believe in it that much, why are you covering your face up? Yeah. DWP issues don't ignore warning to thousands of state pensioners. Best meteor shower of year set to light up UK skies. Should avoid shrimps apparently. Labour waging war on the wealthy now. Labour review of rail projects endangers vital HS2 tunnel. So the possibility HS2 might not even make it to Birmingham. So yeah, there you go then. That is the breaking news of the... What is going on there? I don't know. Yeah, breaking news of the week. Meteor shower is on fire right now. Alright, I don't know. I'm in a very lit area, so I can't see stuff like that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. Stats are, we've had only 39 views, so we've kind of dropped back down to normal levels. We've got 8 people at the minute, we've got 7 likes. Highest number of views we've had is a regular 12. Big shout out to people who've commented. So Dream Frequency, Alan Barton, NE, Angela, Stephen, Kelly and Flink. Where's my mouse gone all a bit weird? There we go. There we go. Why there we go. Yeah, Kelly we already mentioned. There's a couple of other people as well. Bitcoin, Wolf Club, Michael Creeby. I think that might be it. Apologies if I miss you out. Hi T. AG. Meteor shower is on fire right now. So there you go then. Thank you very much for I'll be seeing you. Until next time. Bye. Yeah.